Hello there. We'll just give it about a few more minutes. Let more people join in. Hope everybody is doing good. Chat is open. You can type in comments, questions, anything in chat. All right. Okay. All right. Let's get started here. And with this webinar, we wanted to cover how to do automatic optimization, right? Well, it's partially automatic, and we plan to make it a lot more automated than it's in the current state. But to start with, this should cut down a lot of time that you have when you're optimizing content. So it's nice and easy in terms of a workflow that you can pick up and just kind of address everything that you need to in order to optimize your content. Hey, Eddie, good to see you. A few more people joining in. So, all right, sounds good. This webinar is recorded and will be available after we do this. So let me start sharing my screen. And before we get started, if you guys had any comments, you must have watched the previous webinar video, or you attended the webinar. You must have like a general idea of what we are about to do in the release. Any questions, comments on what you saw would be great. Sounds good. All right. I'm working between two screens, so constantly having to look here and there. Great. All right, here I'm taking some questions before we get started. Not sure if you addressed this yet, but I think some people were saying you deleted the previous video. We might have deleted a few videos which were older version from what it looked like right now. But as such, no important video has been deleted. The score bar, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Hey, Kari from Finland. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. All right, so let's get started here. For optimization, right? Like there were so many things before that you had to optimize, and there still are. So let's dive into our optimization. Okay, our current score is 55. And we need to kind of cross 78 here, which is our target, right? So now we need to figure out how we bridge that gap. Simple as that. In a quick summary, you can understand what you might be doing good, what you might be doing bad, right? So let's understand readability score to start with. 60, average is 48, which is pretty good. And here's how we calculate the readability. It's based on a very popular method, so you guys can read on it. Then we go down and we start looking at some of these details, right? Like, so our title can be improved, description can be improved, common terms can be improved. They're above average, but we could still cover a little more ground here. Originality can be improved, right? I don't have images over here, which I deleted. Some of them were just crap images, so I deleted them. My internal links can be improved, right? External sounds good. There's no videos needed, and that's why it's not showing the arrow. My list item below average, but again, it's not that major of a ranking factor or any of that thing nature. So tables, I'm not using any tables. There's no min max over here either. The page authority is this, my domain authority is this, and backlinks are this, right? Like, so I'm using a website. I just grabbed a page out of Google that was ranking in the second page and threw it in here to understand how we can optimize this. Right. Okay. So in order to quickly understand how we score the content, everything over here is being scored besides page authority, domain authority, and backlinks, right? Like that's off-page metrics. So you want to measure this separately. But for content, we're covering everything that's in here up till here. Sentence and words collide, and they together form readability score. So word count, readability score, image title, description, common terms, originality, image, internal links, external links, all of it we're scoring. Right. So page, that's why we don't calculate page. So I've opened up an optimization page, and that's why we have a page authority on this. We're trying to comprehensively understand the page when we are optimizing. So that's when you have it. For a new page, it would just be dash over here. We could potentially get domain authority once you have a URL set in here. So that can change. And we'll also try to gather both the matrix if the page is published. But if it isn't published, then there's nothing to get. So you'll get dash. Okay, so you can quickly address this by just clicking on the title. Let's go look at the title, and it says that currently there's like 18 keywords that I could potentially use over here, and my current is 7. So there's lots of semantic terms here that people are targeting, and I haven't targeted many, but I'm ranking in the top 20, right? So I want to optimize this page. And here are the titles that it suggested. So simple as that, I can accept this. And when I accept it, you will see it start blinking, and it'll show you that it covered all the topics, right? So it's giving you 2 titles. So let me, okay. So let me just delete this real quick here, and I will refresh the score so we get this back. But it's giving you a couple of ideas, right? And if you don't like the ideas, or you want to generate more, you can generate this more again. But mind is like every title that it gives you is going to be optimized, because that's what we really want. So it's only going to present you the best title options, which are optimized. It looks at the SERP data. It also looks at your outline to understand the context of your page. So it's not giving you something really ridiculously different than what you have written about, right? Like if that's the case, then it's just totally wrong intent. So it's going to try and do that. And it's going to rewrite the title so that it has a better CTR, a potential, and it covers the majority of the keyword, plus it's about 60 characters. Now, mind, like 60 characters is what we want to aim for, but you can have more, and that's totally advised. You can target more keywords and longer, but the most important part is the 60 characters that Google shows, right? So it's going to give you that 60 characters. You can go above and beyond that, but this is what it's suggesting here. And you can see our score will immediately improve, and this will show title as green. Okay, I'll go to description next, but I want to stop here and take a couple of questions. I see many questions coming in. Okay, Clement, I think I answered your question about the quality of image, scoring the quality of image. We're not scoring the quality of image just yet, right? Like, you could be using a GIF, you could be using a PNG, you could be using a JPEG, right? Not based on user experience and how the content is painted on the web, right? So it's not something that we are measuring in terms of on page, although we are measuring quantity. Do you calculate the page rating? Since, okay, I answered that. Can you give a global idea of how everything is weighted? Like more weights or words, readability, less on lists, tables, and etc. Yes, absolutely. Let's go back to the score, and I want to make sure that I cover everything as I proceed further. So I'm going to go back here. You can see title, your outlines, your common terms are measured the most. Then it's originality, then images are measured third, right? And then it's external links. After that, it comes internal links, and then comes list and videos. Videos are weighted a little higher than list and tables. That adds a lot of uniqueness if you have a good video. So having a video is strongly advised. It'll improve your score by a few percent. But majorly what I advise is what we are scoring it on, and it's automatically adapting to what we find in SERPs as well. So it's not based on strict criteria. It's evolving with what we see in SERP. Okay, and AI suggestions title include guidance from Style Guide. So Style Guide is for writing purposes, right? Yes. So when you're writing title, it's considered Style Guide doesn't need to have a title, right? So it's like we're not considering title generation as part of style guide. A style guide is for writing content. So when it's writing the content, it's taking the style guide in matter. But not when it's optimizing this extra this title, description elements, right? Things of that nature. Okay, not yet, but that's a good idea. You might want to include certain parts of it, so might as well make it available to all of those templates. It's a good idea. Okay, then okay, is a 79 score fixed? Absolutely not. This can change if you try to search for content marketing or some terms which are super competitive in nature that so many people have written really good content around. You will find often that you have to beat 100, which is like, even if you get 100, you're going to need backlinks and things like that, right? So the score is adaptive of what we find in SERPs again, and it is not fixed. So you would notice that none of the pages, if you score it against 100, would match up 100 unless they have really done everything. At least one page has done everything that we need to qualify 100. So it's based on some common best practices, along with some data understood experience, and what we find in SERP altogether. Okay. Right. So adding new URLs will not adjust any of the scoring parameters. And there's a reason for it. Why would you want to do it? When we're looking at SERPs, you want to be looking at SERPs, not SERPs plus ABC, right? That's totally different. Now you're changing the game and you're making it not SERP-driven data. So that's not something that we do, but you can turn off certain pages of SERP so that this matrix change based on that, right? Like, so if you find an e-commerce page which has 1,000 products, no real content to it, and you want to exclude it from consideration, then you can do that. But adding new pages to it and trying to rewrite the scoring isn't going to work, because we're not going to extract entities from those pages and try to make amends with the current SERP data. Yes, unchecked URLs will not be considered for any of these things. Besides a couple of things which you need to consider. But yeah, majorly NLP terms and content length and all of that is factored out. Okay. All right, let's go back. So now we have to go to description, right? So any screen, it should be accessible. You should be able to go where you left off. And we can go to description. This description is editable, by the way, so you can adjust it slightly if you want to. But the best part about description is, although it's not heavily weighted, it has to target the keywords, right? Like we all know that it has to be a certain length and things like that. So, and if you're sharing it on social media without a custom OG tag, then you are going to need to rewrite this so that it presents better to your social audience. This one, it's trying to understand the context of your content already written on this particular page, and then trying to rebuild a description out of it, keeping your title in mind with keywords in mind, right? So that's at least 10 minutes of 10-15 minutes, right? Like if you're an expert of it. So it's doing this itself, and it'll present 2 or 3 data points that you can choose and accept, but they're pretty right on point given that it's looking at your content. This quality, so someone asking a question about Dutch, this quality should translate into anything that you are doing with the current languages, right? We've been having challenges with Greek, so we've removed Greek. But besides that, it should adapt to any of the languages. They'll all roll out at the same time. So considering maybe 1 or 2% of difference, good or bad, it should be pretty close to what you get in English. And you should be able to drive the direction of however you want to create the content, even for the first draft. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. But okay, so our score is climbing up and we are at 69. Now, let's go to headings. So for headings, my number of headings is great. If it wasn't, you can generate some ideas to insert some headings into it. And we can look at an example maybe later on. Let's finish all of these things and then we'll delete a few and then rewrite the headings. But we have to address this, like totally. There's 41 keywords, there's 41 plus keywords that my competitors have targeted in here that I have not, right? Like, so this page is like certainly not optimized for this search query, and I definitely need to do a better job, right? So it's showing you the star icon of where you can for adding this content into your your content, right? So let's see how we can do this. Okay, so we're rewriting headings, okay? And a top fishing pontoon boat review, great. It fits the mix, right? If you can change it up a little bit right here and then insert it. But you know where it's trying to find the right places where it can insert this. And it's, again, based on probability, right? So if your content is written in a decent form, not like obscurely, like 300 words, and now you're trying to match up to 4,000 words, it's not going to do a great job at any of these things. But provided you're not trying to game the system, you've written the content in decent format, right? And you're trying to optimize it, this is going to be a game changer, like super easy. So let's accept that. We already accepted that. Now we can go down the list and we can start accepting it. I'm going to show an alternative way where you can do this a little faster. But this is like 5-10 minutes in, and you should be in and out with this particular section, right? So one of the challenges that you have when you're optimizing it with AI and looking at these keywords and including them in your content is that not knowing which keyword to add first, right? Like, so why do I need to add fly when I can add fly fishing pontoon boat as one keyword altogether, right? So what auto optimize can do is prioritize based on what you should be adding that will cover majority of the other keywords already. So you don't have to do that figuring out, but this is to give you more control over how you can optimize each of these elements and insert this into your content. Okay, keep going, and so forth. All right, now let's get to common terms optimization. And this is one of my favorite parts because there is some new data over here. Excuse me. There's some new data. And now you will see that the prioritization of these keywords is based on how many times how important they are, right? Not how many times they're mentioned, right? Like that's a secondary part. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the importance of a keyword based on how many pages it appears on, right? So we're scoring the first 10 pages for this particular common term aspect, and you can see as you go down the list, right, like you'll see how many people, how many pages have distinctly mentioned this in the top 10, and what percentage of that you should be covering. So it's up till here. And then you can, if you want to see still more data, you can click here and you can see more of the remaining, which are in fewer pages. But this is absolutely a game changer because it's very easy to understand what keyword to prioritize against what not to. The second great part about this is also being able to, let's say, so I was talking about, let's pick a pontoon boat, a classic Colorado pontoon boat. Okay, a Colorado pontoon boat, right? So let's say we're talking about this. I want to comprehensively cover this topic. I can click on it and it will automatically group into telling you which keywords are mostly used when it comes to this particular keyword. So Colorado classic accessories, abrasion, durability, bladers, swivel seats, right? Outcast fish cat. These are the things that people have talked about when it comes to Colorado classic boat. So this can also greatly help us understand where to insert the keywords. Not only if you're doing it manually, but as an automated process also, we can understand where the density of this keyword needs to be the right place, right? So we can add that into those paragraphs. Okay, and let's go ahead and optimize. We can optimize one of this as a quality vowels, right? Like, let's see how I can optimize this and generating the suggestion here. Okay, we couldn't find a suggestion for that. Okay, there we go. We found a suggestion for that. All right, so so it's now showing you the target paragraph to push the spring inwards and turn this pin counterclockwise. This should clock the valves in position, allowing air to enter but not escape, right? And it is adding we have to add quality vowels, right? So it's going to add quality vowels pin counterclockwise, right? Or yeah, that's quality vowel, or maybe you can slightly adjust this or regenerate this if you'd like in a second variation and insert that, or insert it yourself, right? Like, but it's going to try and find out where would be the right place. Okay, so this should lock the quality valve in position and allowing air to enter but not escape. Okay, that's perfect. Fits in, and now you can move on to the next step. If you're doing it automated, then it will automatically consider the first keyword that you should be going after instead of showing this numbers as an important factor, right? Like importance factor. So there's little figuring it out when you're doing auto optimize. You can just click next, and get done with it, and we'll get there after this. So, okay, this is great. Let's get to originality, and this is okay. So for originality, what we've noticed an increasing amount of pages that climb up in ranking versus the ones that don't, that they have unique aspect to their feature list, right? Like, so whenever they're talking about something, it has great depth to it and research to it. And you can just tell that this person must have known what they know, and that they must have went and sourced the information somehow and included that. And I think it's very easy to write with some efforts, obviously, but to write an AI that can understand some of these aspects and potentially help Google score it. So we're seeing an increasing amount of this sort of details where people have mentioned unique statistics. You have to go get it, right? Like, it's not something that you can ask AI, hey, can you give me some statistics on this, and be reliable at the same time. So you're going to go and research it. If you're trying to include a quote or a review from a customer, you are going to potentially go to that page, take a screenshot, and include that originality in it, right? And write something a little above and beyond that. Maybe a GIF, right? Like, you're including, it just could be a grumpy cat, but you had to go and source that information from somewhere, think about it, and put it in where it actually makes sense, right? So what it's doing is, it's what originality is really testing is what sort of unique information have you written in this, right? Like, are you really going above and beyond what it's actually necessary to create amazing experience for the writers? So what this is doing is suggesting things that you can include in each of the sections, right? And you don't have to take all the 3 suggestions, but the suggestions are pretty amazing. Even if you tend to achieve one of these in each of the sections, if a quality rater, if a content rater was to come to your web page and evaluate it, they would give it high rating, just because you went above and beyond what was needed or what AI could potentially do at this stage, right? And that's where you want to stick the gun and basically make the magic happen. I think writing information from top 10 pages is a great way to get you started and write a first draft, not with overly detailed, but the details left to you to go and add. And if that's the case, and this serves both purpose. In optimization, if your pages have fallen down and I'm more than certain, right? Like, people optimizing for just NLP terms, their uniqueness is gone to dog, because you're only talking about concepts that exist in nature, right? And Google knows what exists and what doesn't, right? And how it can be related into something new, right? And what you need to do is present the same information, but differently, and with a better experience, right? So follow the suggestions and improve your EAT score. It should almost always work if your content has dropped in ranking in the first page and you are trying to refresh the content instead of adding more NLP terms and doing 1,000 other things that 100 other guys might already be doing with it. Don't start here. It's a little unique information, but you can do tons and tons of stuff. So NLP is a natural language processing. It's extraction of entities or important terms from sentences and paragraphs of ranking pages, right? And those important terms are these are entities. Plastic accessory, pontoon bladers, PVC bottom, those are entities. Okay, so and originality is also measured by entities, but entities which are not common in nature, right? Like they're relevant, like a customer's name mentioning classic accessory Colorado inflatable bowl. It's totally relevant, but that person's name is totally new, right? Like, so you still have a connection. You're building it out with review from a different person than what was present already. So it helps generate this massive graph that suggests that you've written so much information, so much unique information, as well as the common when it compares to your competition. So you can incorporate this. Images, pretty straightforward. We're not generating images. It's not helpful at all. You need to go source your screenshots and things like that. It's suggesting you how many images your competition is using. Internal links is something I love it at this point. So let me just change really quickly. And so this is a different, this is a sitemap of a different website. And as soon as I change this, it will change all my internal link scoring. So it might drop my scoring. Yeah, there we go. It dropped my scoring. I didn't have that many internal links anyways. All right. So based on this, right, like I want to insert internal links. Now there's two ways you can do this. Obviously, you can automate this process using auto optimize. It'll suggest everything together and you can insert it. If you're a person like me, or you have a niche website and you need a lot of control, then going after the URLs that you want to insert is the best way. And it's arranging this based on the silo that you are already in, so the close to relevancy. So you can go from top to bottom, and it's easier figuring out to do. But you can click, and there's some styling issues over here. But it's suggesting a place where you can actually insert this. And it'll go and insert that. So just yeah. So. Okay, so that was internally. There's some styling issues here, or my browser isn't reflect cache cleared, but we'll check that out later. And you can change your sitemap from here. Just click save, and it will load the new sitemap, that you added. External links, pretty simple. It's going to give you some common external links. And now, if you'd like to optimize more, you can click here and go to your videos, list, tables, statistics, and there's also plagiarism over here that you can run quickly and optimize. But the point is, now we want to optimize, auto optimize, right? Like we want a workflow that we can pick up and just get done with it. So we click here, and you will see that wherever there's no suggestion, we already optimized this. So there's no suggestions over here. But there are some suggestions for missing common terms, internal links, originality, and each, right, that we can follow because we've not met the originality. We can now select the things that we want to optimize, and we can start the optimization process. And it's going to start suggesting things, stainless steel, where we can insert, and it's rewriting this particular paragraph. So it's not just rewriting a sentence, right? Like we want to rewrite a sentence, obviously, or we want to even add a sentence, right? Like even that is possible because the concept is totally missing out of it. Or there's numerous other things that can happen when you're inserting this. So we're giving a lot more context to it, so it can find the right place to insert it without stuffing it in. But it also has this factored in that when the concept is missing altogether, but it's very closely relevant, to add a new sentence to it. So it can auto adjust, and it can do some of this thing, very clever things automatically. And we just accept this, and we move on to the next keyword. And there is one more here, and I will accept it. And okay. There's a few more keywords that, so this, I don't want to do this. I can totally, so it's adding new information right under it. And this is my first sentence. So I should have deleted this, but I did not. So I'm going to discard this. And this makes sense. So I'm going to accept it. And this does not make sense. So discard it. Accept it. Very little changes. Okay, this sounds okay. I'm accepting this as well. And you will see that my score will start climbing up as in when I start meeting some of these requirements. And it fits into this workflow very, very, very easily. And we'll just go through the suggestions one by one. So it can also figure out like when it doesn't find anything to relook for it and all of that. So let's give it a quick second. It might be rethinking of finding something new. More questions, feel free to drop it in the webinar chat while this is loading. It's probably we've rewritten so much content on this page while editing this that it has to refactor everything in again. So it's taking that break and it's rebuilding. Yeah, there's some styling issue, but then you can accept it and accept. Okay, so now it went ahead and got us to internal linking, where we can start adding internal link suggestions. So you can just accept on anything that's missing here. And it will insert the internal links into the editor as well. So easy peasy, just keep following the steps and start auto-optimizing it. So let's go back here. Sounds good. So this was a complete part of auto-optimization. And it should be fairly easier than it was before to understand what to optimize, what to focus on, and how to get started with optimization in per se. I don't know. Would love to take on you guys, right? Like, does it make your life any easier than it was before in terms of optimizing the content from the looks and feel of what you're seeing? Does it add more complexity to it, right? Like any feedback you have, would be great. But this was auto optimization. I wanted to show the second part as internal linking, but I am not confident with internal linking yet. So I need to wait this out till the next week. In the release is the internal linking is part of the release, but it's a very significant feature and I don't want to miss it. Yeah, I don't want to deliver on the value that it conveys. So we'll have to do that next week. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Denise. All right, happy to cover anything else that you guys want to cover. We still have about 20 minutes left. So more questions. We're still aiming to update tomorrow night, if not at the latest, sometime before Sunday. We don't want to miss the downtime window which we have set for the weekend. It's going to take a very long time to do the update. So yeah, we're aiming for the weekend, expecting all the collateral around this to be ready as well. So it would give us enough time. But yes, we're still aiming for it. And I can't wait, actually. Yes, I will review Strategist either next week, or I will do a pre-recorded video that shows everything on Strategist. But it's going to be much more easier, automated, and practically pressing buttons from here to implement internal links based on what you see. So yeah, I want to deliver on the value again, right? So I can't show something that is not finished. Stupid question, but I love the writing style you used for the article in the replay. Was it sarcastic and funny? It's a great question, right? And I'm falling much love with that writing style. So I'll show that. And it is best of products over here. So we're using neutral, conversational, and a bit sarcastically funny. Strategist will be updated along with this, yes. 95% of those suggestions are delivered with GPT-4. There's still a few DaVinci 3s we use. We use ChatGPT for just one use case. But DaVinci 3, we have trained models based on that. So we're still using some of that, which we are going to move as OpenAI makes GPT-4 available for training. For if you allow it, yes, and it depends on the kind of CMSs you are using, but it can you can control which pages you can implement. So again, right, like I will go that in much more detail as soon as this is update, because going live with this, we still have to update our WordPress plugin with the ability to connect your website to our platform, not just for internal linkings, but for publishing as well. And you might have multiple sites and things like that, right? So we have to update that plugin. That will also happen over the weekend along with this update. So you guys can seamlessly incorporate this. You should be able to implement this on pages or even pages and blogs, but you should be able to control if you want to do it on pages or you want to do on post type. Thank you, Eddie. Sounds good. I am super excited actually, and I kid you not, like so things get so much easier with the first draft now. And like I personally created so many in this particular release to make sure that we get the quality right. But the tone, the second person's voice, and the styling parameters are all picked up very well because we've adopted to this new style of writing the content in continuous format, so that it has the cohesive nature of everything. But this suggestions work like a charm. And I will share more style guide templates in the blog post that's written over here. You can click and find out more on it. You should already have that link. I shared it in the group, but it's going to be available over here. And there will be, I've written about 20 style guides for different cases with examples of how it looks like when it's generated. So you can take that and personalize this. It's super easy now. All you have to do is just add this examples, that's it, and then you can control it. You can delete it for a particular blog post and generate the topic, just based on this, right? Like you can customize any of these parameters without changing the style guide too much. So even that works. So it allows you a great deal of control. Absolutely, but you don't want to do brackets for everything, right? Like sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it not. I'd rather have the keywords first than try brackets, but if absolutely essential, go for the brackets. It will suggest you brackets in many cases as well. So we've not taken that out, we've just added many more data points to generate the style ideas. Great stuff. Since we're not doing the internal linking today, we can cut this short if you guys have no questions. But if you have questions, happy to stay around for 10 more minutes. Focus keyword in URL, you can. URLs are very less weighted. As far as it's useful to you, use whatever you want in your keyword in URL. If you use the keyword in the URL, Google will read it. It has very little weightage compared to all the other things that you have on your website, right? So in the beginning of Outranking, we did an experiment ranking SERP analysis, which at a very long time was ranking on the first page, and it still ranks somewhere there. But if you'd see the URL, it's extremely unreadable. And it's it's like over 150 characters. But then there are others, like people also ask that we ranked with just 3 words in it, right? And not covering even the target keyword that we're going after. So URLs, not a big ranking factor. Make it useful to your audience, to you. Try targeting the keyword that you want to rank for. It'll just give a better signal, but not a very important ranking. Wow, Denny, here's a great question. If you are doing this with Outranking, you wouldn't need to worry about how to do this. So create document using strategist and come to Outranking, and Outranking will automatically suggest you all the keywords that you can target in the same content. These are not random keywords. These are the keywords that your competitors are ranking for and that we have clubbed it and we gathered it for you. If you are using Strategist and you're creating a document from Strategist, we will automatically import those keywords into this particular section and suggest you optimize for it. So if you're optimizing content using Outranking, you're optimizing for more than one keyword automatically. uh, um, Thanks, Paul. That gives a little encouragement. Uh, we're changing the pricing up. We're breaking the optimization from AI writing part. So AI writing for everyone's going to be an add-on. So if you're not on it yet and you want to get in, this is going to be the cheapest price. But we're going to break out the optimization and the writing part. So it's totally up to you if you want to write with AI or you want to use the crap that ChatGPT generates. Or you want to use us, that's totally fine, or any other tool, doesn't really matter, but you can use Outranking for optimization on base plans. And auto optimization is completely included, as much optimization as you want to do, with given the document that you can create. Strategist is obviously going to be an add-on, so not much changing there, but we're breaking out the writing and the optimization part. Sounds good. No effect on LTD users. You guys can still keep using what you are using. And some of the, yeah, so most of these items which you're optimizing is only covering on the output basis of things that we rewrite only, not considering input characters. So it's a light on credits as well. Oh, and one more thing, right? Your first drafts are going to be about 30% cheaper because it's taking it's removing some of the redundancies that we had before and generating a draft in a continuous manner. So yeah, about if it was consuming around 250,000 characters, it would consume approximately around 200,000. So you can use some of that towards your optimization task as well. So yeah. That goes live. It's not live yet, so we'll put the pricing live after this. And it's competitive with some of the other products out there, so it should be totally fine over there. But the current pricing for first drafts on some of the plans, if you're just using it for first drafts, is much cheaper. So you can already add at the moment URLs and some scrapable PDFs that can be converted. But we don't, and you can also add custom text when writing with AI. That is a part of it. So if you click on it and you can go with generate prompt, you can actually add text to each of the section that you want to generate as background research and not collecting it automatically. If you want to add some URLs, you can go here, you can click on add URL and add multiple URLs or a search query to gather many more URLs from it and add this as part of your research data. But PDFs as well, right? But to a certain extent, some PDFs are just like just become crap when you convert that. So not those, and certainly not text files at the moment. But there are several other ways you can use to do this. We have not thought about grandfathering pricing for existing users yet. We had a campaign on that long time ago. We currently do not. If anything, the prices have gotten better. So most of you guys have already shifted there to this new plan. If you already have, then consider what's coming up new, right? Like understand what fits your use case the most and stick to that pricing. We don't have plans on increasing the pricing of existing users anytime soon, so you don't have to worry about that, at least not right now. My LTDs are going to get a whole lot of new features, and nothing really changes. But besides, your first draft is becoming a little cheaper if you have the add-on. Refreshing and optimizing, I suggest you. Well, see, starting a new document is like rewriting everything, and if you have approval processes and things like that, then it's an extensive time-consuming process, right? Like, so I wouldn't suggest that, but if you have a post that is ranking in, it's ranking at all, like even in top 100 that you're trying to rank for, go and optimize it. Don't rewrite it. It's most likely you're missing misalignment in your intent, and the content quality is just not great enough that it can compete with the top 10, or your backlinks are low, or there's a few other factors, right? So if it's ranking in top 20, close your eyes and just go optimize it, and most likely focus on your focus on originality, and EAT will definitely help you moving. Focus on building internal linkings, that will definitely help you moving from 20 to top. Yeah, seamlessly. Just open it and refresh the data. It might consume one keyword credit, right? Not a document credit, keyword credit, but just refresh the data and you should be fine. Great stuff. A lot of questions. This was great feedback, and answering some of these questions. Absolutely, reach out to Sapan anytime that you'd want. Like I said, we do have a surprise feature we want to roll out with auto optimization, but that will particularly happen next week, where you can watch it optimize yourself, and pause it wherever you want it to. So that's going to roll out sometime next week after the release. But yeah, this is great start, and I think you are all of you guys are gonna have fun with this. I can't wait for you to optimize this one page and republish it and see what happens with it. Sounds good. Great seeing you guys. Any more questions, reach out to support, or drop a line in our room. Any feedback, reach out to me personally or support. It's great help. And we will see you next week after the release. And I cannot wait to share. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you all for coming, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.